Hello and welcome to a Dominaria draft here for Arcane Cards. My name is Damon and we're a couple of days into the format here, so I've played a few drafts on my own, a couple in paper, a couple online, and yeah, it seems like a pretty sweet format. Definitely some powerful stuff going on, and I like that for once you can have a good late game plan as well as having an early game plan, which also seems to work. Looking at this pack while we've still got 30 seconds to discuss it, our rare is a legendary sorcery, which is pretty hard to cast, and the white payoff is not that good. We've got a very solid white creature with the 2/2 first strike Vigilance lifelink, goes into the red-white equipment deck, which I haven't got. We've also got one of the best cards in the set in Bolus's Clutches, which I'm going to reserve here. This is essentially always going to be a 2-for-1. You take their best thing, and even if they kill it, then you're still up. Other than that, nothing else really standing out in the pack. Maybe the Sapling Migration is pretty good, but in Bolus's Clutches is a perfect way to start the draft. Very happy with that. Let's see what we get in the next pack. I've been pretty impressed with the Gitu Chronicler. Just having ways to spend your mana in the late game. I find that Kicker is just kind of a fail-safe. You pretty much always kick this card as a Gitu Chronicler, but if you need to, you can run it out as a 1/3, which makes it great. And getting back in instant or sorcery has been very strong. Here there's a Memorial to Genius. I don't quite know how highly I want to pick this. It is on colour within Bolus's Clutches, and I kind of want to stay blue if I can. There's also a Syncopate, which is a pretty solid counterspell. It does, of course, mean that you can't do anything in your turn, which is the downside of picking counterspells in Limited, because most constructed decks can work around that by having something else to do if they don't cast a spell you want to counter, but in Limited it's a bit harder. Outside of blue, there's a Wild Onslaught, a Grow from the Ashes, which is a nice way to sort of do some splashing, but nothing too powerful. Deathbloom Thallid is also a very, decent card. I'm actually going to take the Memorial to Genius here. Not super exciting, but it goes with the first pick, and, it is a solid card on its own. Ooh, interesting. So we've got Joda Archmage Eternal, which is essentially a 4-mana, very hard to cast 4/3 flyer. I haven't seen this go off yet. Maybe it can. There's a Juggernaut, which is a very solid card. There's Gideon's Reproach, which is a removal spell. Fits nicely into kind of a blue-white flyers deck, since you can take care of their ground creatures, or any creatures with Gideon's Reproach. But it's better when you're on the either defensive or like when you're using it on attacking creatures. There's also an Arcane Flight, which seems fine. I think the easy pick here is probably just the Juggernaut. So I'll just talk a little bit about why I'm not picking Joda is because 3 mana is already pretty hard to get to, especially or like 3 different colours is already pretty hard to get to, especially if you're not green, which is the main colour for mana fixing. And when you do get the reward, you get a 4/3 flyer for 4, which is fine. But like I could pay 4 for a Juggernaut, which I'm going to always be able to cast. So I think it was either Juggernaut or Gideon's Reproach there over the Arcane Flight. And this next pack, I like Academy Drake. It stays us on colour. The importance of kind of staying with one particular colour or one or two colours differs depending on the draft format, but I found with Dominaria especially, there's not that many ways to fix your mana. 2-colour decks are going to be the most common, or maybe a 2-colour splashing a 3rd colour, and most often that's going to happen in a green deck. So I find that if you can manage to limit yourself, like these have all been fairly fine picks, all of the strongest cards have essentially been in the 1 colour, so that makes it easy. And that can also be the tiebreaker between, I like Academy Drake and I like Keldon Raider, but obviously I've got 2 blue cards, so I'm going to take the Drake here. And that just gives you so much more flexibility to see what is open later in the draft, and not kind of waste picks on colours you're not going to be going, you don't know if you're going to be going or not. So this could be our first pick outside of blue, since the only blue cards here are Wizard's Retort, a counterspell which has the same failings as Syncopate, and a Homerid Explorer, which is just a generic 3/3 most of the time. There are a few powerful cards in the pack. There's a Keldon Raider, which is a very strong common, just a strong rate as a 4/3. There's also a removal spell and Fiery Intervention, which I'd probably take over the Keldon Raider at this stage, since I don't really know what I'm doing, but if I am blue-red wizards, then Keldon Raider's not going to do that much. There's also an Ancient Animus, which is fine if you have Legends, and it's still fine without, but you kind of want some beef before you pick it up. The Acer Glider is quite aggressive, could go with the Juggernaut. I think I'm just going to take the removal spell and the Fiery Intervention though. That's our first kind of pick outside of blue. So we've got the Flame of Keld, which you just don't pick this card. look, if you're mono red, it's a good card, and you're mono red like really aggressive low to the ground, but this is not the support for it. There's no aggressive red 2-drops, 1-drop's not good. The final ability only counts red sources, and it doesn't even like do that much when it goes off, so I think it's just a pretty awful card. Navigator's Compass, if you haven't heard the discussions going on around this, then I'd like to enlighten you. I could pick up a Relic Runner here as kind of a blue aggressive card, or an Urza's Tome. I think I like actually taking the Relic Runner. I've heard that you can actually do some work with this card, even in an aggressive deck. And, you know, at worst comes to worst, it is a 2-drop, which I might not necessarily end up playing, but I may as well pick it up, because there's nothing much else for me in that pack. I'll get in my soapbox about Navigator's Compass in a little bit. Let's just look at the rest of this pack. Deep Freeze is a perfectly good removal spell. It's been surprisingly better than what I thought. The fact that the creature loses its abilities is very relevant. You can shut down pretty much anything, and especially if you're blue or white, you can just fly over the top of it, so it's not really a downside. Voltaic Servant, fine if you get... it's good if you get the Traxos, the giant legendary. It also takes Zhalfirin Void because that's a pretty nice little card to go into any deck, but I think this is a clear Deep Freeze here. Blue, so it stays on colour and is removal. Okay, so Navigator's Compass. The thing is, this is pretty much worse than just putting a land of the different colour. Like, if you're splashing and you want to take Navigator's Compass, you may as well just put the different coloured land in, because Navigator's Compass takes up that whole slot. So if you draw it, you know, it's essentially the same as drawing the land, except you can't use it, it doesn't act as a land. Like, you've got to use it on a land you already own, so you're taking up multiple resources to generate something that if you just play the land in the first place, you know, it would have been probably better off. You can also use lands for other things. I'm going to take an Academy Drake here, which is pretty easy, since that's going nice and late in the pack. The other thing about Navigator's Compass, obviously, the 3 life doesn't really matter unless you've got, say, Lich's Mastery. The artifact theme doesn't really matter unless you're like super heavy in Historic, and I haven't actually seen that there's even a Historic deck that wants to go that heavy. Kind of the Historic payoffs are more minor. Even with Relic, like, I don't know, I just can't... There is a deck where the Compass is going to do something, but I've not yet seen it happen. Probably taking a Keldon Overseer here. My deck doesn't look super aggressive, so I can't see myself wanting Fervent Strike, although it's a fine trick if I do end up going red. Keldon Overseer is decent. It is quite aggressive, but it does seem like blue and red are the open colours, since we keep seeing blue and red. So in this case, we'll kind of go around the Wizards route. I'm happy to take YouTube Chronicler here. I talked about this card before, but it has been very impressive. Fills out your 2-drop, but if you don't need a 2-drop, it's a very good 6-drop. Syncopate, Wield, but the YouTube Chronicler I think is pretty easy. So this is a kind of draft that sort of tells you what colours are open, in the sense that we're only getting past these colours, so this doesn't happen all the time. When it does happen, you're kind of happy. Take an Arcane Flight here, as it's the most powerful of these cards, and in Wizards it can do some work. You can get pretty aggressive with this card. So here there's a Curator's Ward, which is pretty much not worth the mana you're casting, since... For multiple reasons. There is a Fire Elemental, which I probably won't play, but I'll take because it's more likely for me to play than charge. Fervent Strike versus Homerid Explorer. Interesting. So, the Homerid Explorer is fine, but I think it's pretty replaceable. Fervent Strike, I never pick up combat tricks that highly, so I'm going to take the Fervent Strike here. Flame of Keld, where it deserves to be, at the back of the pack, and Forest. Alright, so interesting start. We're definitely kind of angling into a blue-red Wizards deck. I found the blue-red Wizards deck to be not super aggressive, in the sense that it's not an aggro deck as you know it. It's more of a, I'm going to temper you out, I'm going to bounce your things, I'm going to steal your stuff and hit you while I'm doing it. So I haven't fallen into the trap of like thinking, oh, I need multiple 2 and 1 drops because it's an aggressive deck. Looking at this next pack, there's actually... You know, well, there's an in Bolus's Clutches, which is clearly the correct pick, because if you have 2 of these, it's even more broken, so I'm going to take that. But there's also the Firefist Adept, which I have been very impressed with. You know, this is essentially a Flame Tongue Kavu, in the sense that it'll often come down, kill a creature, 1/1, 2/2, sometimes even bigger than that, and yeah, it's just very, very solid. In Bolus's Clutches, I didn't really get a chance to talk about why this is such a good card. Any cards like this, control magic effects, are amazing, in the sense that, like, you use this card, you gain their card. Alright, so you've already removed it. It's already been like a 1/1. You've removed, like, you've a removal spell that just taken out their best creature, but then you have it as well. So you've turned their best creature into your best creature, and suddenly they have to use one of their removal spells on their own creature. So you're essentially getting like 2 of their best cards with this one card. What have we got here? We've got a Mishra's Self-Replicator, which is slow, but could be powerful. I could see it being powerful. There is also a Jousting Lance, which I've been pretty impressed with, actually. Jousting Lance has definitely done a lot of work. Goblin Barrage is essentially almost 4 damage to a creature. Sometimes you happen to have a random goblin, although the goblins aren't that good, so outside of Siege Game Commander, it's not going to do much. Another Arcane Flight, which I could see if we wanted to get more aggressive. There's a Gitu Lava Runner, which is the kind of 1-drop you don't need in Wizards. So I think here, I don't think the payoff is high enough on the Mishra's Self-Replicator that we really want to go down that route. So I want to either take the Jousting Lance, the Arcane Flight. The Arcanist is a wizard, which could come up. If we're in Wizards, I like taking the Jousting Lance. It's a nice aggressive card. Definitely get some damage in. Ooh, next pack is a little bit of a whiff for us. Knight of Grace is an amazing card, of course, but we are pretty much set in our... Well, with that said, we're not completely set in blue-red. I could easily be a blue-white Flyers deck. There are some good flyers here. There's Pegasus Course, which is a very nice flyer, Knight of Grace, which is a very, very solid 2-drop. Yeah, I guess, I mean, I'm not really taking much else, because I could take a Woodland Cemetery for tickets, but I don't think it's worth that many tickets. So it's the question between Knight of Grace and the Pegasus Courser, which is interesting. They're both very good. Excuse me one sec. Woodland Cemetery. It's worth something. Alright, because of the signal we got so strongly, which was that blue and red was open, I'm actually going to pass both of these good white cards and just feel that the blue-red archetype is open and take this for tickets. Really? Alright, well this is just getting silly. So, if we picked the white card, Pegasus Courser would be looking at us, but come on, alright. We're just gonna win with their best permanents. I think this is clearly clearly what this draft is signaling us. We're just going to be clutching a lot of opponents' permanents. The only downside, I guess, is that this is a legendary enchantment, so you can't have more than one on the field at the same time. I've never really thought that would be a downside, although with 3 of them it kind of is. I still think I'm going to take it, because even then I still think it's pretty good. Getting to the point where I get 4 is probably actually too many. Like, I probably wouldn't play 4 in Bolus of Clutches. Staying on our blue theme here is a Cloud Reader Sphinx. Great rate common. Does seem like blue is very open, which is nice, and we're getting easily paid off by sticking into blue. From my experience with the set so far, I mean, all of the colours are good. You're looking for cards that, you know, have inherent value in them. I'm kind of always wanting to have more value than my opponent's deck. So for instance, if we go into the late game, I'm confident that I can win it. I've got removal spells, or I've got some ways to deal with their bombs, and I'm not too worried about dying it early on, because there's a lot of 1/3s, a lot of 2/3s, the ground gets gummed up, evasion's really good, and so I think blue is in a very good position to take advantage of that. Alright, we've got Khan's Temporal Sundering here, so unfortunately this... Well, actually, no, this does work, because the Lyn Bolus's Clutches will turn a permanent we steal into a legendary permanent, so we can actually cast this. The other option would be to take Keldon Raider, which is a very solid 4-drop, or a Syncopate, but, you know, there's also a Sorcerer's Wand, which I think is pretty good in Wizards. It's a nice little finisher. We don't actually have that many Wizards, and look, I'm excited to try this legendary sorcery, so let's pick up Khan's Temporal Sundering to go with our powerful 6-drops. Another Joda coming around. Wow. There's also a Damping Sphere, which is very good in Constructed, I guess. Fungal Plots, which I think is a really sweet build around, and surprised that it's going this late. I think, since we're not really going to play any of these, this is going to be a value pick, so let's quickly check. Damping Sphere, not much online. Joda, also not much online. Alright, neither of them are very... Cool, we'll take Joda then. We're two of the 3 colours. Maybe we can splash Joda. I doubt it, but, you know, we can dream. Alright, nothing much for us here. Well, in our colours, there's only the Homered Explorer and the Fire Elemental. The Explorer could fill a gap in the curve. Aether Glider could do some work. I don't really see it. Urgaros is a bit hard to splash in. Short sword. I guess you can always run a short sword. I'll take a short sword and probably not run it. Wow, that is a very late Lanois Elves. And interestingly, we didn't see much red. I mean, it could just be that red was really open coming around, and we didn't pick up much of the red, and so therefore it was taken from us. And the person we're passing to this way is drafting, or the other way is drafting red. It's something to keep an eye on. Luckily, we've got so many strong blue cards; it doesn't matter too much. I'm just going to hate draft Lanois Elves because no one should get Lanois Elves that late. Arcane Flight versus a Verdalian Arcanist. This can only cast instants or sorceries, so it can cast the Khan's Temporal Sundering and the Fiery Intervention. Arcane Flight is just kind of a winning card. We don't really have many wizard synergies, so I'm kind of fine passing up on the 1/3. I don't think it's that crucial, and Arcane Flight can kind of steal a game, so I'll take the Arcane Flight there. Befuddle versus Seismic Shift. I'll take a Befuddle and not run it. Alright, well, there's another Arcane Flight. Invoke the Divine. It is nice to have a way to deal with permanents, artifacts or enchantments, because there are some pretty strong artifacts in this. Is there a chance that I splash white? Possibly, and I'm not going to run 3 Arcane Flights, so I'll take the Invoke the Divine for the sideboard. Alright, we'll get another Legendary Sorcery. Can't cast that one. Gaia's Protector. So yeah, still not actually sold on red being our second colour at the moment. We've got one good removal spell. This is a third Joda. We can have 3 Jodas and 3 in Bolus's Clutches if we went really deep. Wow. Alright. But our red cards, yeah, so we've got good red in the Gitu Chronicler and the Fiery Intervention. The Overseer is fine, and the rest of our red doesn't really work. So we definitely could go another colour pretty late. We're definitely heavy into blue at this stage. I think here I'm going to take Time of Ice. It's a very strong card. It is better in an aggressive deck, but honestly I play this in a controlling deck. It's great with Juggernaut, of course, because they just can't stop the Juggernaut from rolling in. Outside of that, there's nothing really in our colours. I'd take a Deep Freeze, of course. It's a removal spell. I feel like Time of Ice is better than the Deep Freeze at the moment. Although we've got Bolus's Clutches, so we don't need removal spells, because we're just going to take their creatures. This only taps opponent's creatures, so yeah, no real downside to taking Time of Ice. We'll probably wheel the next Joda. Ooh, Daragaz Reincarnated is a very sweet one. We have an interesting pick here too between Tetsuko Umezawa Fugitive. So the only reason I'd really consider this is it's a legend for Khan's Temporal Sundering. Also can get in some nice damage and is a sweet blocker. A surprising number of things are, X1s or something. I do want to take a creature because my creature count is pretty low at the moment. I think I'm just going to take another Cloud Reader Sphinx over the Tetsuko though. It's interesting because it depends how much you want to cast Khan's Temporal Sundering. If it's important to cast it, then we probably want to take the Tetsuka because it's pretty hard to get legendaries outside of our Bolus's Clutches. But there's a chance we don't play it. And Cloud Reader Sphinx is just a super solid card. So this is probably like one of the closer picks I've actually had. Could definitely be the wrong decision to take the Sphinx. But I think it is a more powerful card just on its front side, so I'll take that and try to be happy. There's another Memorial to Genius. In red there's a Skizzik, which is good, but it's not amazing, and I think I'm probably just happy taking another Academy Drake and staying more blue. Mono blue over here. And yep, not much to say. Drake. More Drakes, or a Blink of an Eye. Or a Quenda and a Haphazard Bombardment. This is actually a good card. It pretty much destroys 3 permanents for 1 card, so that's a very nice rate. And you can combo by like bouncing it back to your hand. The fact that we're not like super heavy in red, and I've already got 3 6-mana things that essentially do much the same job as a Haphazard Bombardment, maybe wants me to lower my curve a little bit. So I'm kind of looking more to have Blink of an Eye, Rampaging Cyclops maybe, but I'm still just going to stick to the blue. I think we definitely know we're in blue. I'll take Blink of an Eye over these. Like if we didn't have as many Academy Drakes, I'd take another Academy Drake. Or the Haphazard Bombardment if we were definitely in red and needed some removal. But I think Blink is this nice cheap interaction. I'll take that there. So the red does seem to be open coming this way round, which is nice. Here's an option to pick up Valduk, Keeper of the Flame. I think I will actually. It does seem better than the Keldon Raiders, especially because we've got 2 arcane flights already. We might wheel one of these because they've been going around pretty late. And it's a legend, so it works with Khan's Temple Sundering. And if we do manage to put a Jousting Lance or an arcane flight on it, pretty sweet. So yeah, I like picking up a Valduke here. Alright, I take another Deep Freeze. These are all good picks. More removal. Our 3-drops are becoming a little bit heavy here, but that's okay. The curve isn't as important in Dominaria as in other sets, and you can also play more like 18 lands on the side of 18 because you've got so many kicker spells and powerful spells that you will be able to get to most of the time. So with the Keldon Raider here, which is double red, which is kind of annoying if we're, essentially so many blue spells. I could also take an Opt, which is just basically filler, so it does get us towards our powerful cards more, but I'll take a Keldon Raider. Maybe we play it, maybe we don't, maybe the double red is too much, but I don't think, we don't really have any other synergies with Opt. I can't remember what Joda this is, but it could well be the 4th Joda, which would just be hilarious. I think here we're taking Arcane Flight though, because it goes really well with Valduke, and yeah, it was the 4th Joda. That was the 4th Joda. Well, I hope we get to upload this draft because, well, actually, I wish I'd taken the first Joda and actually tried to build a Joda deck. It would have been really bad because even if you get there, the multiple Jodas are bad. Like, what's the point of having multiple Jodas? You're only ever going to play one. I'm just going to start picking them up, see how many we can get to in the end, because I'm not taking an Artificer's Assistant. I could take a Bloodstone Goblin. No, I'm off Bloodstone Goblin as a 2/2. Wow, alright, we wheeled Tetsuko, that's very nice. That basically means we can play Khan's Temple Sundering now, because we've got 3 Bolus's Clutches, we've got 2 Legends. Yeah, I think we can actually get there. Sweet. There's a Lava Runner versus a Bloodstone Goblin. We do have a couple of kick things. Sometimes it's nice to have a 2-drop. The Lava Runner we're never really going to play. So even though it's a wizard, we don't really have any wizard synergy, so I'll just take the 2/2 for 2. Rescue. Guess we can rescue our Imbolus's Clutches. Don't want a Fire Elemental, so I'll take the rescue. Sacrifice an artifact, draw a card. We don't really want that. This could be, I could see this being a sideboard card against like token decks or something. Another rescue. Alright, well, we ended up with a pretty sweet deck. The triple Impulses Clutches is going to be fun. We've got Khan's Temple Sundering to take extra turns. We've got kind of enough legends to make it work. If we look at our legendary count and count the Impulses Clutches as a way to get a legend, we've got 5. That's definitely up there. We've got lots of good flyers. We have some removal spells. Yeah, the deck looks very sweet, actually. Excited to play it, and hopefully we'll have some good games. Let's just cut down on it a little bit. So, with the Memorial to Genius, a lot of high-end, we've got 3 Arcane Flights, so essentially any creature we manage to stick is going to be pretty good. It's a pity we didn't pick up any of those hexproof 4/5s, the commons. I don't actually think I saw any of them, which is curious. We saw 4 Jodas, but we didn't see a single one of the hexproof 4/5s. Tells you how good that card is. So we're going to make probably 2 to 3 cuts from this list, whether we want to run 17 or 18 lands. We have 3 Academy Drakes. We have 4 6-drops and lots of high ends, so I'm pretty happy to run 18, which means we need to make 3 cuts. I could definitely cut an Arcane Flight. Creatures at this stage are going to be kind of pretty essential. The Relic Runner doesn't do what we want it to do, in the sense that, we kind of want to be going late stealing their stuff. It does trigger a lot because we have quite a few historic spells. So I could see keeping the Relic Runner in there. Yeah, alright, so because we've got Relic Runner, we've got all these legendary things, we've got Saga, we've got this Jousting Lance. So, cutting some of these, probably fine to cut an Arcane Flight, since most of our stuff is flying anyway. I might cut some of the, I opt towards cutting some of the creatures, but we've got so few creatures I probably need to keep them all in. Do I cut a second Arcane Flight? So Flight is very good on Valduke. It's pretty good on both Juggernaut and Keldon Raider. The rest of the creatures don't really need it or want it, although Relic Runner's fine with it. Gitu's Chronicler. Gitu Chronicler actually looks pretty bad in this deck, which is kind of sad. I'm going to keep it in for the sheer fact of getting back Khan's Temporal Sundering, which is going to be sweet. So, alright, Gitu Chronicler's there for the sole purpose of being a 1-3 blocker and getting back Khan's Temporal Sundering. We still need to make 2 more cuts if this is the case. The correct thing is to cut another Arcane Flight. It's sad, but it has to happen. Because if we draw a hand of like 3 Arcane Flights and no creatures, then we're not going to do anything. So I could run this 23-17, but as I said, I kind of like going 18 in this deck, since we've got so many places to spend mana, and we really want to get to 6. So I'm probably going to cut another non-creature spell. The question is, do I cut a Deep Freeze or like a Blink of an Eye? Blink of an Eye is cheap interaction, which is nice. Deep Freeze is just solid removal, though. Deep Freeze has yet advantage if you can bounce your own things. I probably... probably don't need that Deep Freeze and can bring it in. Well, but I've got a lot of flyers. And... Yeah, I think I'm either cutting a Deep Freeze or a Blink of an Eye. Could also cut a Jousting Lance. Jousting Lance... I only have 12 creatures. I'm keep cutting things that are good with Valduke, of course. I think I'm going to try and keep the Jousting Lance in. It's just efficient enough, and you know, it has enough little triggers that I think it's going to be worth it. The question is, do I want Blink of an Eye or a Deep Freeze? And I guess I could also cut Fiery Intervention. Maybe Fiery Intervention is good with, because the Chronicler can get back the Fiery Intervention, whereas it can't get back any of these. But I also have all of these Embolus's Clutches, so by the time I'm getting to 5 or 6 mana, I'm probably just taking the thing. Yeah, alright. I'm in for cutting the Fiery Intervention at the moment, since essentially Deep Freezes are both removal spells that are cheaper than it, since most of my stuff's flying or evasive. And then Embolus's Clutches also just does a better job of killing things, so I'll take out that removal spell, keep the Blink of an Eye in for the cheap interaction, move the Memorial Genius into the deck, and check out our lands. Recommended 13-4. I think that's a little high. I mean, I do want blue sources, but I also want to be able to cast Keldon Raider. This is kind of annoying because I'm essentially like splashing, in inverted commas, red. So if I want to be able to cast double spells and everything, I'll need more sources of blue. But 6 sources, of course, not many to cast a Keldon Raider off. Probably go 10-7. Because I do want more blue sources. Obviously, I want to be able to cast multiple blue spells in the same turn, and I've got all of these double blue costing spells. Might end up cutting a mountain if it doesn't go well, but for the moment, I think this is the deck, and as always, happy to hear your comments and thoughts on the build, but I'm gonna save this, take a screenshot, and let's get some matches going. Alrighty, here we are for the first round, and our hand is slow but powerful, and we are also going to be on the draw, so that's something to take into consideration. If this was an aggressive format, I'd probably mulligan in this hand, but since I do have something I can cast and some really powerful catch-up spells, I'm actually going to keep this hand. We can definitely draw into some action, and most of our stuff costs 3 anyway, so it's not like we're giving up a lot. Alright, lead with the mountain or a forest? I guess we lead with the mountain. Gives us the pretense of holding up a Shivan Fire. Not that really changes much. Alright, there's an opt. Yeah, so our plan with this hand is basically to get to turn 4, cast Keldon Raider, get to turn 6, steal their best thing, then cast Khan's Temple Sundering. Just go from there. Ooh, blue-white flyers / historic deck. So we're hoping they don't play 3 mana busted equipment next turn on this Serra Disciple. Picking up our tap land now, so we'll play the tap land, pass the turn. I haven't yet seen Serra Disciple go off, but it could happen. I guess the combo with Quende, the legend that gives your first strike as double strike. And the turn you play it, you get to hit them for 4, and then if you have any other historic spells, it gets pretty good. Messy Unicorn, that's definitely been a 2-drop that's been impressive, as always. So, alright, picked up a Blink of an Eye, which is nice, since now I'll play a blue, because this bluffs Wizard Retort. Now we can actually respond if they put like a really strong enchantment or equipment on one of their creatures, and we just need to get it out of the way before we cast our Keldon Raider. If they don't have any effects, I'm fine just taking 3 here. Our spells are pretty powerful, and they're going to catch us back up as soon as we get to them. And I like to save Blink of an Eye for a situation where we can get a real card worth out of it. Sanctum Spirit does make me possibly want to change that play, since now next turn I'm going to be casting Keldon Raider. I can't really block the Sanctum Spirit. Well, I can, but then if they discard a historic card, they get to eat my Keldon Raider. So yeah, despite what I was saying, I think now I'm actually going to cast the Blink of an Eye. I think we've got enough power to come back, and we just want this tempo play to get the 3/2 off the board. And then later on we can steal it, possibly. Alright, so I'm going to cast a Keldon Raider here. The question is, do we want to loot? And it's not actually looting, it's rummaging. I think the answer is actually... it could be correct to do so, get rid of a land, but I actually really want my 6th land, so I'm pretty happy with everything in my hand so far. The question is, do I want to draw a removal spell? Let's just check out the deck. So I've got a few removal spells that I could draw, or a Cloud Reader Sphinx, but I think I'm pretty happy at the moment just to cast the Keldon Raider and not use the ability. So, well, the chances of us not hitting another land are pretty rare, but I'm not going to risk it. That's probably me being too afraid of the correct play. The correct play is probably just to rummage away a land. Spirit comes down again, so that was nice. We did manage to kind of, time walk them a little bit. They attack us with the flying first striker, take another point of damage. So turn 5, we're not attacking with our Keldon Raider, and I think we're just going to play down Tetsuko, which is nice because it means that next turn we can cast Imbolus's Clutches. Sorry, we can cast Khan's Temple Sundering. We don't need to have the Imbolus's Clutches in play. No attacks here, we're definitely on the defensive for the moment until we can turn the corner. So the Sanctum Spirit attacks, we could offer to trade with the Keldon Raider, or probably I'm just going to take it because next turn we can cast Khan's Temple Sundering and start attacking with our Keldon Raider. So the more creatures we have on the board, the better. So I'm not going to block here, going to take a bit of damage. Yep, damage. Lifelink happens. If they play a powerful 5-drop here, I could also Khan's Temple Sundering, then Imbolus's Clutches it. Another Sanctum Spirit, okay. Cool, alright, so we get to untap, we get to play our land. So we're going to cast Khan's Temple Sundering this turn. Probably going to bounce the Sanctum Spirit, and we get to attack with both creatures. First of all, choose target player. I'm going to take the extra turn. I'm going to bounce Sanctum Spirit, and Legendary Sorcery. Kind of sucky if they had a Syncopate right here. Alright, we did it. So we can attack with both creatures now because we're taking an extra turn. They have no good blocks. Alright, take an extra turn. So I'm probably going to Imbolus's Clutches something. The interesting question is whether or not I take the Sanctum Spirit, which is far more powerful, or the Mesa Unicorn, which is untapped. Because if I take the Mesa Unicorn, then I can use it to block the Sanctum Spirit, but the Sanctum Spirit is just a more powerful card. So I could keep Tetsuko back to block the Mesa Unicorn, take the Sanctum Spirit. Yeah, that's probably correct, alright. Tetsuko's only getting in there for 1 point of damage anyway, so... let's attack with the Raider. So the question, should we keep the land in hand? I think not, because we've got Memorial to Genius. We want to spend our mana. Let's take this. Permanent. So we've also got an Embolus's Clutches we can discard to the Sanctum Spirit if need be. Yep, alright, we knew they had another Sanctum Spirit. This is fine. Taking another point of damage. So as you can see, the Serra Disciple's really... Oh, alright, this is interesting. I assume they have some kind of... Oh, no, they've got the lifelink, so... Just attacking here to gain life. I'm not really worried about a combat trick anyway, so I'll just protect my life total. Maybe they have it, maybe they don't. If they do, sure, why not? Them tapping mana could very easily just be a bluff, so I'm not going to read much into that. Luckily we've got our own Sanctum Spirit to start doing work here. So I'm going to attack and... Well, actually, I've got 2 removal spells in hand, so I've got Embolus's Clutches and a Deep Freeze. So if I Deep Freeze a Spirit, then I can't attack with my own Spirit, but I can attack with Keldon Raiders and Tetsuko. Keep the Spirit back to block. Or I could attack with just the Spirit, offer to trade with their Spirit. Then if they discard a card, I could discard my card. Interesting point. I've also got the Memorial to Genius, which I can use... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I can only use that if I don't do anything this turn, which would be just attacking with the Sanctum Spirit. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to save my removal spells in case I need to use them. I'm happy to trade spirits here. If they discard something to their spirit, then I get kind of blown out, I guess. But I can just Embolus's Clutches the next one. Let's see what they do. Alright, they've got a snap block here. Nope, alright. So here I'm probably just going to use Memorial to Genius, so in that case I don't need to do anything. I'm going to play out the land and pass the turn. So hopefully they play another big thing here that we can Embolus's Clutches again. Yeah, so you can see they probably were bluffing that combat trick, otherwise they'd attack with the Mesa Unicorn, so we're not going to have any blocks. Hope they play something good that we can win the game with. And we do have a 4-3 on the board. Alright, here we go. 5, yep, good. Oh, yeah, that'll do. That'll do. Alright, so end of turn. Draw 2 cards. Cool. Alright, play out our land. Let's take your next good thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Whoop. So I can probably afford to attack with both creatures here, since if they get rid of the Academy Drake, they get hit me for 3, but I'm at 12 anyway, and I'm going to cast a second main Relic Runner. There is Urza's... I'm just trying to think of Wrath effects in the format. Like, in these situations where you're winning so far, you've got to think of ways that you might possibly lose. But the chances of them both having a legendary creature and then casting Urza's Ruinous Blast seem pretty distant, so I'm going to cast the Relic Runner as a way to get some more damage in. Yep. So yeah, we can see that Embolus's Clutches did a lot of work there, as you can expect. Just repeatedly taking their best permanent and forcing them to deal with it again is pretty nasty. We also saw they had some flyers, kind of blue-white generic flyers with some lifelink on the ground. Would we want to side anything in? They didn't really have any tokens, so the lightning doesn't seem great. Don't really want any of these. Don't want a combat trick. Arcane Flight could be alright, but we already have tons of flyers, so I don't think we're going to be struggling in that regard. Relic Runner seemed fine because it could block the 2-2. So yeah, I'm pretty happy to run that back. As you can tell, like, his Dominaria draft is, you know, the format isn't that fast. You've got time to cast your good cards, so make sure you've got some good cards. And yeah, you can definitely expect to survive, you know, the first couple of turns without taking too much damage. I snap kept this hand just because it had lands and spells in it, and again, being a kind of format, I probably should have played a mountain, whatever. Being a kind of format where you know, value is everything, not mulliganing is also more valuable in that case, because you're not trying to curve out so much as you are just trying to have more good things than your opponents do. Knight of New Benalia is definitely going to hit for a few points of damage unless we can find a 2-drop here. So I'm probably going to run out either the Deep Freeze or the Academy Drake to block or remove it. I think the Deep Freeze makes more sense at this stage. We'll see what they play next. Of course, since the Academy Drake can come down later as a 4-4, get the most value out of our cards as possible. We'll take our 3 points of damage. That's a pretty good one. So Time of Ice is going to be a good little stall out here, since we're not really drawing into anything at the moment, and we don't have much action going on. But Time of Ice is going to stall down. This has Vigilance, but that doesn't matter with Time of Ice. So here I'm going to cast one of my 3-drops because I need to stop the bleeding. I think I'm probably going to put the Deep Freeze on the Knight of New Benalia, even though that's not great, because it prevents 1 more point of damage. If I put it on Denetha, well, if I put it on Denetha, then the other abilities don't. Maybe it is better to put on the Denetha overall. Take an extra point of damage from the Knight, but I can trade with the Knight, whereas First Strike, yeah, alright. I'm going to put the Deep Freeze on Denetha. Give them a nice blocker in the process, but then Time of Ice is going to come out, tap down the Knight, or if they play another threat, it's going to tap down that threat. And we'll see if that 1 point of damage ends up being relevant. Right. Another 3-powered creature, so the opponent is definitely more aggressive than we saw in the first game. They've gone 2-3-4, so they're really caring about their curve, whereas we're durdling around here with tons of land. This could get a bit risky. I'm going to cast a Time of Ice, which is also going to do the pseudo effect of stopping them from attacking us for a little bit, otherwise it'll bounce all the cards back to their hand. Going to tap down the Sanctum Spirit, and that won't untap. They're going to take another 3, but if they do attack us, and we get to tap down another thing here. Wow, alright. So this is going to work out quite well for us. I mean, we get to tap down the Cloud Reader Sphinx, then if they attack us the next turn, all of their creatures get bounced back to their hand, aside from Denetha. So, yeah, the Time of Ice is definitely going to buy us quite a few turns, but then they also have a pretty good board to deal with, so we need to draw something. Okay, that's what we need to draw. We'll tap the Cloud Reader Sphinx, because we can't cast Embolus's Clutches this turn. Yeah, alright, we'll tap that. So, question is, do we want to cast Academy Drake on 3? Next turn, I'm going to bounce all these cards to their hand, so I can't Embolus's Clutches anything, which is annoying. They're probably not going to attack me with the Knight of New Benalia, but I kind of also need to get things on the board. But I also need to be able to do things and cast spells, so I'm really hoping that I draw a spell next turn, or that they cast something that I can then Embolus's Clutches. I think the advantage is not to cast the Drake, because it can be so much better later. It shuts down all of their creatures, and at the moment it's only just going to prevent, like, just trade with something. So, strange as this seems, I'm just going to pass the turn back. And we'll see if they end up attacking with their Knight. Cause if they do, they'll hit us for 3, but then they'll also get the Knight bounced back to their hand. So, yeah, right, they didn't. Got an Aven Sentry, so I might end up having to Embolus's Clutches the Aven Sentry. Opponent does have a nice little blue-white flyers deck going on. And we drew the land, so I definitely want to cast something this turn. But now I know that they also have a Cloud Reader Sphinx, so the correct play might be to cast an Academy Drake. No, I think I need to kick the Drake. So let's take the Aven Sentry. even though they've got other stuff coming down, and we'll kind of use their Aven Sentry to trade with one of their other creatures. We'll kick the Drake next turn with 7 mana. Oh, they've got their own Time of Ice. Never mind, we might not be doing that. So they're going to be able to bounce their own creature back to their hand with this Time of Ice, which is nice. Get to Chronicler. Not the best at this stage. We really need to draw Khan's Temple Sundering. So if I cast Academy Drake and kick it, they just get to tap it with Time of Ice, and then it gets bounced back to my hand anyway. But if I cast the Gitu Chronicler, that gets tapped down by the Time of Ice. So I could cast Gitu Chronicler and Academy Drake, in which case they probably tap the Chronicler, then my Drake has to trade for their Knight, they bounce everything back to their hands, I have a Chronicler and nothing else in my hand. So I don't think I can even play the Drake here either, which is unfortunate. I do think I can play the Chronicler though, because I'm not going to kick it at the moment, and they're going to have to tap something. Well, I don't know if there's a point of playing the Chronicler. I guess they could choose not to tap it. Yeah, this is going to be a close game, because they get to bounce their own creature back. I don't think it's worth playing the Knight. I'm going to go to 5, which is risky. Academy Drake, but otherwise I've got no way. Like I'm basically back to top decking, so it depends what I think I can top deck, but I think I can afford to go to 5. This Knight of Dominaria has done a lot of work this game, I have to say. Would be good to pick up Khan's Temple Sundering this turn. Would be really good. Since then, my Gitu Chronicler is getting bounced back to my hand, so I can return it, and I've also got a legendary permanent. Alright, down to 5. Probably play out the Cloud Reader Sphinx again, the Sanctum Spirit. Okay, they're kind of afraid of my clutches. Or they've got a 2-mana bounce spell, which we could be aware of as well. So good draw step here. Probably just casting a kicked Academy Drake. If they have a bounce spell or a removal spell, then that's game over. Or I could Keldon, Raider, and ditch and land. Keldon Raider is definitely going to trade with both their cards. So I know. What did I bounce to their hand? They're going to have. Well, they're going to have an Aven Sentry back. They've got the Cloud Reader Sphinx. And so they've got Cloud Reader Sphinx and 2 unknowns in their hand. So do I play the Keldon Raider and loot something, hoping to hit a spell, and then I can play Academy Drake if need be, but then I don't have the 4/4. Yeah, because I've got so many Academy Drakes. I think this makes sense, because I'm pretty likely to draw a spell from this. And discard a mountain here. And then if there's a backup case, is like cast the Academy Drake. So yes, I'm going to discard a card. Discard a mountain. There we go. Alright, so I did draw a spell. Just going to play some creatures out. And we'll see what the opponent's got. We'll see if we're dead or we live another day. Okay, so now they've got Aven Sentry and Cloud Reader Sphinx in their hand. Would be very nice. Well, now we can't cast. Oh, we can cast Khan's Temple Sundering if we pick it up, because we've got Valduk. So if they attack with both here, I'm probably just going to try and trade off. Although it kind of sucks. Because my creatures, well, not better than theirs, but they're just. Alright, Dub. Dub is going to make this more difficult. Dub is going to mean. How do I get out of this? I need to pick up a removal spell for a start, I think. So the question is, do I trade with the Sanctum Spirit for Valduke? I mean, one of my few ways of getting out of this is Khan's Temporal Sundering. If I pick up a removal spell, because they can now cast the Aven Sentry as well, so I'm going to have to cast Academy Drake, kicked or unkicked. Unless I pick up Khan's Temporal Sundering. I think the upside of picking up the Sundering is enough, like, that I'm going to chump block the Knight here, take 3. They will cast the Sentry. I can then cast 2 chump blockers, so I'm not dead next turn, and if I keep the Valduke alive, I can actually cast my Khan's Temporal Sundering. It's not a great line, but also if they have a card to discard to the Sanctum Spirit, then I'm really screwed from that. Yeah, alright, Sentry, so I think we need Khan's Temporal Sundering or like Imbolus's Clutches or some high impact spell here. That's not a high impact spell. Alright, so I need to block every single one of their creatures this turn. 5, 6, 7. Alright, but I can kick the Drake. Well, I have to cast Gitu Chronicler as a chump blocker. But then at least I can kick the Drake, which is going to stop something. So now again I'm dead to a removal spell or a bounce spell, but we're kind of in that position. And what's happening? Opt gives them another chance at winning the game, so I guess they scryed it to the bottom. Attack with all, or is this, if they just attack with the Knight, then that's great news for me. So is there a way I can take this out? If I block it with everything, so if I block it with the, this is interesting. If I block it with the Drake and say the Valduke, then they'll kill the Drake and the Valduke will kill the Knight. But then they're also going to play a flyer, which means I'm dead. But I'm also dead to the flyer next turn anyway. So I'm just going to chump. I really need to draw the Clutches or Khan's Temporal Sundering at this stage. Maybe a removal or a removal spell might let me survive an extra turn. Jousting Lance. Jousting Lance is not going to do it, so let's go on to the next game. Alright, so we got a little bit out aggroed there. Well, we weren't aggro in the first place, but they got the beats on us. So do we want to adjust our deck because of it? There were a lot of flyers, they've got the 3-1, so I could bring in the 2-2, but it seems so bad most of the time. So I kind of like the way our deck is. I think we just need to draw more higher impact spells that time. You know, we kept a pretty slow hand, but I thought it would work out, but I don't really see much we can change at this stage. Just gotta hope to draw more Imbolus's Clutches. Their Time of Ice, of course, was pretty powerful. So this has the danger of also not doing anything because we have no cards that we can actually cast. But I'm going to hope that they don't have that Knight of Dominaria or a good curve out and keep it. We could mulligan into something much worse. And with all these Imbolus's Clutches, hopefully we can stabilize before we get too beaten down. Also on the play this time. So we kind of just want to draw lands or 2-drops. 5-drops, not where we want to be. Could do with an Opt about here. Opt would actually be really good at this stage. So there's of course a chance that we just get stuck with tons of cards in hand here. Lands are good. Lands are good. Lands and cheap spells is what we want. One more land and then we can cast Cloud Reader Sphinx, and we've got a few turns to hit it, and we're not being aggressively attacked, so this seems good for us. Ooh, nice to draw the tap land there, since we can cast that. So next turn we can cast Casting Sphinxes, so I think we've turned the danger point of this game. What have we got? Tempest Djinn. Well, that's pretty good. Wouldn't mind one of those myself, actually. I might take one. Blink of an Eye is nice, but I think we need to run out of creature here. There's a chance they don't have another island, in which case we can just block. and we get to scry some more lands to the top. We definitely don't want this, so that's going to the bottom. Do we want an Academy Drake? Probably not. I just want lands. So let's scry both to the bottom. Gotta be a little bit mindful of our time. Of course, because I'm talking, it's taking a little bit longer for me to make play decisions. Alright, they didn't have an extra island, so that's nice for us. They've got the attack here. This is a free attack for them, and I'm not going to run into it necessarily. We didn't see any combat tricks, but I'm on 20 life, and I prefer just to take the hit for 3 and then hit them back, or play another creature and keep Blink of an Eye up. Shall I? 2, 4, 5. I really want to land so I can take Shall I. So I'm going to cast a second Cloud Reader Sphinx because I want to scry that land to the top. Ah, there's that land. Do we want Adjusting Lands? Probably. Does give us a way to attack through. Yeah. Alright, so we're going to go Jousting Lance on top, and then Island on top. We're not going to attack, but now we have a block at least available to us, and we know we're drawing the island for Imbolus's Clutches. Time of Ice, possibly? Yeah, Time of Ice comes down. That's nice. That is nice. Then I've got a 4/4 Hexproof Djinn. So I think I'm just going to save some damage here by blocking the Shallai. If they've got the combat trick, they've got the combat trick, but we're going to untap and take Shallai anyway. Or are we? Maybe instead we're going to Blink of an Eye Shallai. We know we're going to draw a Jousting Lance from that. Because if we Imbolus's Clutches, they're just going to tap it and then take it. So yeah, I think actually we're going to Blink of an Eye the Shallai. Because we need Time of Ice to go away before we start taking their creatures. And I think I'm going to do it now, because then I can cast the Jousting Lance we're going to draw with it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just being more mana efficient here. Definitely turning into a close game here. The opponent has a very nice Flyers deck, and you know they've been tempering it out nicely with this Time of Ice. See if they continue to play around Imbolus's Clutches. Shallai and Sarah Disciple. Alright, so I think we have to Clutches the Shallai here. Since everything else basically has hexproof. So we'll take Shallai. We're going to take a bit of a beating from the Tempest Djinn. Cloud Reader Sphinx comes back to our hand. We can block the Sarah Disciple, and they're on 2 cards. If they have a bounce spell here, it's pretty good. We'll probably lose the game from that. They've got a Dub and a Juggernaut. Whew! Sheesh. Well, that's fine, because we do have to block with this Shallai. Otherwise we die. But then we can take... It's a pity they're both tapped. I'm going to have to block. Otherwise I'm dead. I think I'm dead anyway at this stage, unfortunately. Oh no, I'm not, because I can take Juggernaut and I can give it flying. Alright. So I can Imbolus's Clutches the Juggernaut, which is untapped. And then I can give it flying with the Arcane Flight. Is that the best? Is that the best play? Or I could do Academy Drake for 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I've also got 4. Yeah, I think I actually need to. This is going to be annoying because I'm going to have to attack with it. But at least they can't attack this turn, or if I mean they can put me to 1 if they don't pick up anything. If they pick up a historic spell, I lose, but they're going straight to their attack step. Does look like we've lost this game, though. It's going to be pretty hard for us to come back from this. Okay, they do attack with both. I mean, I really want them to attack here. That's the best possible scenario. Come on, come on. Alright. I guess it was a bit much to hope. So I'm going to have to attack with Juggernaut is the problem. And so then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then I can actually survive by casting these 2 spells. So again, we're kind of we're hanging on by a thread here. We have to attack with the Jug. This does give us a good threat. I really want Khan's Temporal Sundering. That would be so sweet about here. Alright, let's cast a Cloud Reader Sphinx. 3, 4. Is Cloud Reader Sphinx what I want to cast? 5 and Academy Drake? Probably. I just want as many things on the board as possible. And I want to scry into a Khan's Temporal Sundering. Killed an Overseer. Might actually do some work here. So this is definitely going to the bottom. Next turn I could cast Keldon Overseer and kick it. And yeah, this could do tons of damage, so I'm going to put that on the top, because that is a way to win the game. And also cast an Academy Drake. Non-kicked, and pass the turn back. So next turn we can kick the Keldon guy. We can take Tempest Djinn, which is actually bigger for us. Please don't say I just lose the game from some giant spell. They've got an Academy Drake of their own. Okay. So if I cast Keldon Overseer and I take the Djinn, so this costs 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I can't unfortunately equip the Jousting Lance as well. If I take the Djinn, it's a 5/4. Then I'm attacking with the Djinn, the Juggernaut. The Djinn and the Juggernaut together is 11, so they don't have to block that. So if I attack them, then I'd hit them for 11, and then I'd have to block. Like, I could block their 2 flyers. If they don't pick up anything, I can chump block the 2 flyers, take 3 if they don't pick up a historic spell, and go to 1. Or if I attack with everything, then yeah, they've just got good blocks on me, so gonna have to just hope I blank a turn here. Hope they if they don't pick up a historic spell or a removal spell, then we can win this game. Attack with that. If I attack with the other 3, then Academy Drake eats Cloud Reader Sphinx, Serra Disciple eats Keldon Overseer, and they take 11, 12, 13. Yeah. Well, it doesn't. Yeah, because it's got first strike, so it does eat it. Alright, well, we just gotta hope we blank a draw step. It's been a sweet game, no matter what happens. And yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see how this thing goes. I had to attack with Juggernaut because it has to attack. Land is good, and we win the match. Wow, what a game! Gonna compliment the opponent on that, and I'll see you for the next round when we've taken a breather. Here we are for the second round after that nail-biter finish in round 1. Looking at our hand, definitely keepable hand. We've got no real early drops, and here we've got 3, 4, and hopefully a 6 if we can hit a legend, so I'm going to keep this one. Again, we're on the draw, so we might be a little bit behind this game, but as we can see last game, we can pull stuff out of nowhere. So let's put down a Memorial to Genius. So we've got the nice combo of In Bolus's Clutches into Khan's Temporal Sundering, and wow, we drew a 2-drop. Possibly one of our very few 2-drops. Let's play a Relic Runner. Someone said there is a deck around Relic Runner. You can just play a kind of a blue historic theme and just really go to town because people have these running late. And well, looks like the opponent sort of respects that since they offered us a very vicious sacrifice in response. Black-red. So lots of removal spells. Black has the most removal spells. I think it's got like 3 or even 4. I think it's got 4 removal spells. Wow, that's nice drawing a Keldon Raider there. So the question is, do we want to play Academy Drake here, or do we want to wait to kick it? We don't have many cards. We don't have many Sorry, we don't have many cheap creatures, is what I'm saying. So I'm actually going to cast out the Drake. We have 3 others in the deck, and we've got tons of expensive cards in our hand and not many lands. So I feel like this is a time when a Drake does want to come down on turn 3. We're obviously not going to block the Drudge Sentinels here since it can be regenerated, and we can just trade back for 2 points of damage. Oh, there's a Valduke. That is a scary card. So here I'm probably going to play a Keldon Raider and discard something, because I do want to hit my next land. Unfortunately, all my things are actually pretty good, so maybe I don't want to discard something. I'd probably discard the Drake if I still had that, but Drake is now on blocking duty for Valduke. So I could cast Time of Ice to tap down Valduke and give us some more time, or I could cast Keldon Raider, discard Time of Ice, hoping to hit another land. But if I don't, then I've got no other plays. Or I could ditch this Cloud Reader Sphinx, which doesn't seem great, because again, that's a really strong card. Or I could ditch Khan's Temporal Sundering, which again is a really strong card, but we won't be able to cast it until we've got Imbolus's Clutches. So this is a curious state. If I play the Time of Ice, then that gives me some more... Yeah, I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to play Time of Ice, tap down Valduke, hope that they don't have an equipment, and just kind of buy me some time to draw lands, and then if I draw a useless spell next turn, I can use Keldon Raider to discard it away. And if I draw a land, I can cast Cloud Reader Sphinx and scry the next land to the top, so I can cast my powerful 6-drops. Yargle? Well, at least we can tap Yargle down. Right, we drew a Valduke, which I'm pretty happy to discard to the Keldon Raider. It does trade nicely with the Yargle, but I really want lands at this stage, and I think since we can get a legend from the Imbolus's Clutches, I'm happy to discard a legend here. Of course, we pick up the combo card with Valduke. Does it return all tapped creatures? So this will return my Academy Drake if I attack. Oh no, it won't, because I get to untap. Alright, never mind. Reading Saga's wrong. Let's attack with the Drake. Still, we can put an Arcane Flight in the Keldon Raider and start hammering in there if we don't draw another land. I still think it's correct to make that play to discard the Valduke, because our 6-drops are so powerful. Alright, oh, there's our land. We're returning all tapped creatures. Time of Ice is such a huge... the fact that you get to return 2 creatures, and you guaranteed basically get to return 2 creatures, is just such a big swing. So I could play Arcane Flight on the Raider here. They do have all their mana up, but they're probably just going to block with the Drudge Sentinels and regenerate. There's no real point in attacking, because that is what they're doing. If they're not, they're going to have a removal spell. I'm going to hit the Keldon Raider back. I don't see the point in attacking here. Since worst case, they just block and regenerate. Since best case, they block and regenerate. In worst case, they have a removal spell. Or a pump spell. Instead, just cast a Cloud Reader Sphinx, and hopefully scry land number 6 to the top. Alright, so... yeah, putting both of those on the bottom. I guess I'll put the... well, this one's probably going to be more useful, so that's going to go first, and Clutches second. We do have a pretty powerful flying army at this stage, with the Arcane Flight if it goes on the Raider. That Time of Ice just really slowed things down for our opponent. Incredible. Very strong card. And in fact, that was kind of the reason why we were having so much trouble in the last round. The opponent might just play out Yargle again here. Yep. Yargle with an Arcane Flight is pretty sweet to see. Ooh, there we go. Is it time to take our own Yargle? I think it is. I think it's Yargle time. I mean, the other option is we can Arcane Flight up the Keldon Raider, but then we need to leave a jump blocker back for Yargle, so... Yargle is too powerful to exist on his own, so we're going to take Yargle. And that means we can attack with all creatures. It's also the sweet combo of playing Yargle and then the Yargle on a tapped out board, and then Fervent striking Yargle to hit in for 10 from haste. Not sure if the opponent's going to be able to deal with their own Yargle coming at them with an Arcane Flight on it. So this is how we play Yaga with Arcane Flight. We don't actually play black. We steal our opponent's Yargles, and then we put flying wings on them. Flying cat wings on the giant frog monster. You thought dinosaurs are interesting? Try giant flying cat frogs. Opponent is obviously intimidated by a... Yep. Well, you take Yaga, you win. I mean, evidence is right before your eyes, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so we saw black-red stuff. So we did see a few removal spells, so we could consider rescue. We also saw that Arcane Flight was pretty good. On Yargle specifically. Didn't really see anything for any of these spells or anything bad. Not really. The removal seems good. Jousting Lance seems fine. Gitu Chronicler is just an early blocker. Doesn't really get much stuff back as we saw, but it gets Khan's Temple Sundering back one of these games. We are going to Khan's Temple Sundering twice. Mark my words. Alright, I'm going to run it back. Alrighty, so here's our opening hand. We've got a 2-drop, and a 3-drop, and a 4-drop, and a 5-drop actually, now that I look at it, although we're probably not running the 3-drop out on turn 3. So this is a nice keep. It also got the Memorial. I just like getting those tap lands in early. And the opponent could be playing an aggressive deck, we don't know. Blink of an Eye is nice, so we can play a Memorial down. Relic Runner next turn. We can possibly become the aggressor if they don't have any plays, you know, play an Overseer, but we'll play it by ear. We'll see what happens. I like having all of these options, and the great thing about kicker cards is you do have the options, you know. You can have the late game advantage, or you can have the early game tempo if you need to. 2 mana, we've got a Bloodstone Goblin. Alright. We are going to need to draw some land at some point, but we can do a few things with 3, like playing down a Relic Runner. I'm happy to trade the Goblin. If they have a kicker spell at instant speed, then I guess they got me, but there's not too many of those going around. So, I definitely feel like we're on the defense at the moment, so happy to trade for this 2-drop. We'll see if that works. Yep, alright. Blackblade Reforged. We don't need to be too worried about that yet, because we can just steal it with Embolus's Clutches. This is an interesting point on 3 mana, where we have basically nothing else to do, so I'm actually going to run out the Keldon Overseer as a 3-1 haste, since we're very far away from kicking it, and we might just need a creature on the board, so I may as well get some damage in. Blackblade Reforged on the legendary guy, Valduke, is pretty sweet. It's probably what they've got going on. However, we seem to be rolling into Aggro Town over here. Who said we were playing control? We must attack. Yeah, we might actually just win the game off these aggro creatures. We've got a blink spell, we've got a... Not so good with the Keldon Overseer, but still the Juggernaut can get past the Deep Freeze. We've got Bolus's Clutches. We just take out all of their creatures and win on the ground, potentially. Also, we can now kick Blink of an Eye, which is nice. If they play a solo blocker next turn, kick the Blink of an Eye, draw another card, hit them for 8, they play it down, we deep freeze it, we'll play Cloud Reader Sphinx. It's in a good position for us right here. The opponent needs a very good catch-up mechanic, or cast multiple spells in the same turn. 2 removal spells, good blockers, something along those lines. And here again we see the power of kicker, like, you know, we could just had the option to play this out of the 3-1 haste, and because the board suited it, we played it out. So when you're doing your drafts, I'd encourage you to evaluate kicker cards a lot higher, because they're so much more flexible. Like, the Gitu Chronicler looks like mediocre, but fine. So does the Keldon Overseer, but they're both, you know, a lot stronger because of that flexibility, because they play both sides of the court. I don't even know if that's what that phrase means, but it sounded good. So we're going to attack in here. The opponent had no plays, which is kind of curious. You'd expect them to have a removal spell, but nope. Are there any Wraths we need to be aware of? I don't think so. I'm just going to cast a Cloud Reader Sphinx here. And this pretty much seals up the game. So we've got a Blink of an Eye, multiple big flying threats. Okay, they have a flash creature, which isn't very good. But they can equip the Blackblade, so I guess that's fine. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they can give it could be a 9/9 next time. But we're just going to Blink of an Eye it, so I don't think we're worried. Jousting Lance, we don't need. Cloud Reader Sphinx number 2. We're casting Blink of an Eye next turn anyway. I don't think we need Cloud Rune Sphinx number 2 either. We've got so many powerful things going on. They would need multiple removal spells, and removal spells for their own creatures if we draw lands as well. Their only real option here is to kind of try and one-shot us, but even then we're on 20 life, so they'd need to play some pretty impressive, like, hasted Yargles and remove my creature, and I just don't think they've got enough mana to do all of this. So the question is, if they quit Blackblade and just pass the turn back, or maybe they need to play another blocker as well. No, they can do that. No, they do need to play another blocker. So they quit Blackblade, play another blocker, and pass the turn back. Do we, in Bolas's Clutches, or do we Blink of an Eye? Well, so here we just win. Because we Blink of an Eye. Doesn't really matter what we Blink of an Eye. I guess the Self-Replicator, just because we can, because then they can block it and take 6, so may as well kick it for fun. Alright, attack with all creatures. Block Juggernaut and take 6. So, oh, we already won the first game, didn't we? That was game 2. I'm getting a bit ahead of myself. After that epic game 1, I'm kind of like in the trenches. But with that said, we're on to the finals in Bolas's Clutches. We'll hope we've got another clutch game, and I'll see you there. Round 3, the finals, and here we are with a hand that is not great, but also not a mulligan, so I'm going to keep it. We'll wish the opponent a good game. They're leading with a Memorial to Unity. I don't think, unless we draw it, we're going to lead with our Memorial. Play out a Mountain. This hand is not great, but again, I just think the mulliganing in this format, you pretty much just want to keep the most powerful cards you've got, and you don't really need to be too worried about mulliganing unless your hand is basically unplayable. Knight of Malice, that is a good one. That is a good one, especially since the opponent seems to be playing black-white, which is the Knight colour. We can deep freeze that next turn, but for the moment, I'm just going to cast a Jousting Lance and use up our mana. We might be able to get there with a pretty big Keldon Raider, though. Jousting Lance, Arcane Flight, if they don't have a removal spell. Mesa Unicorn. So attack in for 3. Ouch. Time of Ice. Ooh, that's also a nice draw. Gonna play a Mountain here, and I'm just going to deep freeze to take this Knight out for the moment, rather than the Unicorn. The Unicorn can gain them life, but the Knight's just a better target, so if I don't end up using a removal spell in the Unicorn, I prefer to have frozen the Knight. Next turn, I can play... Well, the thing is, if I play... Oh no, it just says Defender. Because I was going to think, if I play Time of Ice, they could attack with their Knight, and then bounce it back to their own hand, but they can't, because it has Defender. Here we go. So there's another interesting option of playing Time of Ice versus Keldon Raider. I do want lands, but I also want all the other things in my hand. The fact that they just passed holding 4 mana up makes me think of a removal spell, which I might be more incentivized to say discard this Arcane Flight. But I think we've got so many good things going on that I'm not going to bother discarding anything. Because I'm not going to discard Bolas's Clutches, and Deep Freeze is the removal spell, so let's just not discard anything. Alright, and it wasn't a removal spell they were holding. So maybe they're just waiting to get up some more mana. Could be hit by an Eviscerate here. Nope, the other Knight. Interesting. So the opponent has open mana. They could, if we put an Arcane Flight in our Keldon Raider, destroy it. So I think the safe play... Well, I also want to cast Time of Ice, though. If I cast Time of Ice, it taps the Knight down. So I could either do Deep Freeze on the Knight, equip the Jousting Lance and attack, or I could Arcane Flight my Keldon Raider, which is a little bit risky, because they've got open mana. Or I could do neither of those things. Maybe I just play... Because they could also have a combat check as a thing. So... Alright, so I don't think I'm going to put this Arcane Flight on just yet, since I don't need it to get past the Knights. I'm just going to play a Time of Ice, which gives us the most tempo. And possibly walk into an Adamantine Will or something like that. by attacking with the Raider. There's also a question, do I want to attack with the Raider at all? Because that means they just get to hit us back for 2, we go to 13, they go back up to 20. Yeah, I don't think we need to attack with the Raider. I'm just going to play it safe. I feel like we've got the late game sorted here. Opponent definitely has something. Maybe it's a invoke the Divine to destroy one of my equipment or enchantments. The fact is, racing against a lifelinker, like, my 4 damage is essentially going to trade for their 2 damage plus 2 life gain. So, since they're on more life than I am anyway, it makes kind of sense to keep this Raider back as a blocker. Because then next turn I can tap the Unicorn, or whatever they play. Hopefully. This is big, whatever it is. Maybe it's a spell. Nope, it's just a big dude. Alright, well that's fine, because I can just tap that. Now they can't attack. So that's the problem with the Time of Ice, is like they spent their entire turn, and now it's just going to get bounced back to their hand. So, block the Abomination, sorry, tap it. I guess drawing the land means I could have embolished Clutches it. Damn. Didn't think about that. Oh well. So now I think we do start going to town with the Keldon Raider, giving it flying and first strike. Oh, it costs 3 to equip. I always think it costs 2 to equip the land for some reason. I don't know why. Let's get in there. So now if they attack with a Mesa Unicorn, the Time of Ice is going to return it to their hand, which is a nice little play. If they play something else large, I can Embolus as Clutches it. And I am attacking for a lot with this Keldon Raider, so they probably need a removal spell to deal with that. Okay, they do attack with the Unicorn. So that is also going to get returned to their hand. Time of Ice is such an annoying card. I guess they could destroy the Time of Ice here. Vicious Offering kicked. Alright, yeah, that does it. Sacrificing their knight. Come on, play something good that I can steal. No, that's not very nice. I don't want a Divani Trapper. I want that big thing. We drew Blink of an Eye, which I might cast here to draw a card and see if we can get anything better, like a Cloud Reader Sphinx. Is there any advantage to casting it later? I guess I could try and put an aura on their Trapper, so yeah, I'm not really going to cast a 2-drop at this stage, so I'm just going to save the Blink of an Eye and pass the turn back. I want them to play that 5/5 out again so I can steal it. So in the interest of saving damage, I'm going to bounce this back to their hand. 13 isn't a great life total. They might just play up, yeah, I'm just going to play up both the small creatures again. That is frustrating. Oh, Valduke. Okay, well that's nice, because I can Valduke and put the equipment on it. 1, 2, 3, but then I'm going to take a bit of a hit back. So maybe instead I want to deep freeze and play Valduke but not equip, and then next turn equip. Yeah, because I need to deep freeze the knight anyway, because otherwise I can just first strike the thing down. Alright, so I'm going to play Valduke, play the Duke. I'm not worried about their giant card because I've got an answer for it. I'll play out a land, I'll deep freeze the knight. And the question is, now, do I want to trade my Valduke for their Divani Trapper or Unicorn? I think the answer is probably no, because I'm going to take their 5/5. And I get to attack with the Valduke, so I'm just going to take a hit for 5 here. They gain 2. Alright, yeah, there's the big boy. So I'm going to take that, and then hopefully this stabilizes us here. Because if not, I'm probably going to have to start jumping with Valduke, since I can't attack here because they've got the knight to block it. So this is, yeah, we're kind of like trying to grid in and stabilize here. Removal spell on the Feral Abomination is nasty, but it still did something. Okay, Pegasus Courser is is good, but not the end of the world because we've got Cloud Reader Sphinx. So, oh, we've got 2 Cloud Reader Sphinx. Definitely going to cast that here instead of equipping, since they've got a pretty good blocker for it on the knight. Question is, do we want to start attacking with this Feral Abomination? Island. No, we want gas. So lands are dead draws. So if they have a removal spell for the Cloud Reader Sphinx, then they get to hit me for like 4. I think I just attack with this Abomination, because I want to start putting some pressure on the opponent. Yeah, I want to kind of finish this game before they find removal spells or ways to buff up their creatures. So they can attack with the Courser and something else here and give that thing flying, but I've got a Cloud Reader Sphinx to block it. So yeah, they really do want a removal spell here. If they have a removal spell and a historic spell, they take 6 points of damage. I'm still not dead. So yeah, I think that was a good attack. We need to pressure their life total. They've also got this Memorial, which I need to remember. They can make 2 1/1s, instant speed, so they'll be pretty good jump blockers against the Feral Abomination. So next turn I could, if I pick up a land, I can equip Valduke with the Jousting Lance. Or if I don't, I can just cast a Cloud Reader Sphinx. The Elementals annoyingly get blocked by this Knight, as I said, which is a 0/4. So I'll probably next turn keep the Abomination back to block, because they're going to have Memorial potentially, and keep an attack with my Sphinx, and also have another Sphinx. So yeah, if I hit the land, I could also put my Jousting Lance on my Sphinx, which just speeds up the clock. Need to be careful of the opponent going wide. Oof! Ooh, this is going to hurt. Are we just dead? Because the Divine Trapper now gets to tap down the Sphinx. Which is pretty brutal. They can equip attack for 7 in the air. Right, so I don't think we're just dead, but it's pretty close. That Forebear's Blade is a nasty piece of work. So maybe it was a bit of a risky play to attack with the Abomination, but even then they get to attack with the double flyers, so it's not too big a deal. What are they going to equip? If they equip the Mesa Unicorn, of course, that gives them a ton. Actually, this gives Vigilance and Trample. Oh my gosh! If they equip the Unicorn, I have to block. Then I take 3. I still take 7, and they can equip the blade to something else. Wow. Divine Trapper is a surprisingly annoying card. Yep, they put it on the Unicorn. Attack with it. Attack with everything. I guess they could just... yeah, they can give the Unicorn flying. If they just attack with those, that probably makes sense because the Trapper's doing more work. And I'll just trade with it. I'm going to need to deal with this Forebear's Blade. Could do with the Khan's Temple Sundering. That would be sweet. Khan's Temple Sundering into the Gitu guy. I guess I'm going to get to Scry 2 as well with the Cloud Reader Sphinx, which is nice. Yes. So I'm going to go 2 here. And then I've got 6 trampling damage in the air. next turn. So I have to hope they don't pick up a historic spell. Or I find Khan's Temple Sundering or something similar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sphinx number 2. More lands, alright. Both on the bottom. So I'm going to put this lance on... Well, so if I put it on a Sphinx, I need both my Sphinxes need to stay back for me to survive. If they pick up any removal spell, I'm dead anyway. So I'm going to put it on Velduke. Because now I can attack with the Elemental and Velduke. Is that right? Because then if they have a removal spell, I'm dead anyway. And this way I can only block their flyers. They can attack, give this flying, that trades there. Yeah, I think I just need to get as aggressive as possible, because they can block this elemental on the knight, and Velduke's not doing anything. If they have a removal spell, I die, so it's not like that's doing much. I may as well get some hits of damage in. So they give the unicorn flying, yeah. So that's the only thing I can block there. It also has flying and trample. So I'll take 1 point of damage from this currently, if they don't have a combat trick. But I think this is the best available blocks to me. If they've got charge or something, then I lose anyway. So yeah, alright, I pretty much lose whatever they have. Gideon's approach, yep. Alright, there we go. Interesting game. Alright, so Forebear's Blade, we know that's a pretty powerful spell we want to be able to interact with. Invoke the Divine is our option, but we don't really have the way to splash it. What else do we see? They had some flyers. Any of these things any good? Not really. We could take a Fiery Intervention, just another removal spell. They'll be replacing something like a Time of Ice or a Deep Freeze, but they also had those really aggressive, cheap creatures, so yeah, I kind of like it as it is. We're just going to need to Imbolus's Clutches, something, maybe the Forebear's Blade, if we get lucky. And yeah, that was still a close game. The opponent did need to have something there, otherwise we're in a pretty good, well, we were in a fine position. We had scryed 4 lands to the bottom, we were bound to hit something. This obviously has to be the game where we get Khan's Temple Sundering plus Gitu Chronicler. Otherwise the universe is definitely not fair. We would like to play first, keeping in mind the opponent has multiple 2/2s with First Strike. And no red, but we don't have many red spells, and this does give us some early plays, so I'm going to keep this hand, since mulliganing with a 1 game loss and not being able to do anything kind of sucks. And it's not great, but at least we can cast spells, and if we draw more lands we can cast bigger Academy Drakes. And if we flat out too much, we've got the Memorial. And if we get really desperate to block knights, we can play Academy Drakes with Arcane Flight on them. Alright. Gas is good. Pass the turn. No 2-drop knight, and we picked up a mountain, so things looking up for us. I'm going to cast one of the Drakes here, just to put on some early pressure. Having the second one in hand makes me more confident in doing that. We might need something to block or attack. Ah, the Trapper. Bane of my existence. So, chance of them having a historic spell is definitely there. But I think I'm probably fine to trade. Well, I'm going to play attack with my Academy Drake and then play a Relic Runner. If they got a historic spell, then they're using it pretty early on, and it's not going to be as impactful. they might want to save that. If they've got the blade, then I'm not really going to be able to race that at this stage. This Trapper has been a surprisingly annoying card. Maybe it's just a lot easier to trigger historic than I thought it might be. Alright, Aven Sentry's good because that trades up with our Academy Drake. 5th land. So I'm going to attack with the Drake, so I'm happy to trade that for the Sentry, and our Cloud Reader Sphinx just nullifies the Aven Sentry. So what are we looking for here? Probably don't need another Drake. Deep Freeze is good. I probably want to pick up the Deep Freeze because it's a removal spell. It's not a great one, but it is nice just having that kind of guarantee. Then again, maybe I don't really need it at this stage. I'd prefer to pick up more of my powerful spells. Next turn I can only cast a 3-drop anyway, so I'm going to put the Deep Freeze on the bottom. I don't think I need it at this stage, and I kind of want to draw into my 6 drops and, you know, 1 more land, or 2 more lands for the Academy Drake. Hope we don't live to regret that. Well, I hope we live to regret it. I hope we don't regret it. Okay, so we saw last time Gideon's Reproach. So it could definitely be something similar, or a charge, or a combat trick. I'm going to throw the Relic Runter out in front of the Trapper, but then not block the Aven Sentry. Since I'm very happy to trade these, and all the Relic Runner for a combat trick, and I again get to attack them back for about as much as they're attacking me at this stage. Whereas if I block the Cloud Reader Sphinx here and they have charge, it's awful. If they've got Gideon's Reproach here, well, they do have the charge. Okay. Pegasus comes down. So I think at this stage we're going to wait to kick the Drake, because 1 more land means we can kick the Drake. Gideon Chronicler we're not going to kick because we need another red and a spell anyway. Both of my creatures have flying, so I'm going to keep the Drake back to block, attack with my Sphinx, and I think I'm just going to put a flight on this Gideon Chronicler, so this can also block. Not the best use of resources. I guess I had the Memorial as well, I didn't even think about that. Whoops. Oh well. Hopefully this gives us a good enough defensive position, since now 2 of our creatures will trade with his Aven Sentry, or if the Pegasus gives us the Trapper flying, we can also block it with those. Okay, Yargle gets to tap down something, probably the Gitu Chronicler. I could do with some In Bolus's Clutches. Attack with all. I actually think the Trapper is more dangerous at this stage, so I'm going to block that, since we have a few flying creatures. Hopefully trade with it, yes. Yargle flying, of course, is pretty sweet. How about our own Yargle? How can we lose? When you control Yargle, you win. Isn't that just how it works? If we attack them, I think I just attack with the Sphinx here and keep the Chronicler back. Because then if they have a removal spell, they still don't have really good attacks for the Yargle. Oh, sorry. So they don't really have really good attacks. Oh dear, what's happening? Okay, alright, that's fine. I'm fine with that. So so lands are good because we can cast a Kick Academy Drake, Held Overseer. Well, I can't kick that, unfortunately. So I might be wanting to use the Memorial to Genius. Am I attacking with Yargle? Yargle will just trade with the Aven Sentry, so I'm probably not attacking with Yargle. I'm attacking with Sphinx, and I'm probably using Memorial. So because playing a Keldon Overseer on this board doesn't do much. So let's use Memorial now. Kind of want our flight back. Do I still want to attack with the Cloud Reader Sphinx? If they double block it, it's not very good for me. So no, you know what, I've got more cards than the opponent. I'm just going to sit back. Not going to do any risky plays. Removal spells could definitely hurt us here. And they can give something flying with the Pegasus Courser. So I think I'm just going to sit back. We've got the late game, we've got more cards than they do, we've got more Imbolus's Clutches. No need to expose ourselves by attacking. We don't need to put the race to them yet. Blink of an Eye is a nice little draw. What we could do, we could Blink of an Eye our Arcane Flight, and then put it on Yargle. And then they'd have to kind of block with both creatures. If they tap out, which is unlikely because I'm kind of tempted to do that, blink our Arcane Flight back, put it on Yargle, and get in there. Of course, it's pretty bad if they manage to destroy Imbolus's Clutches and then they've got a flying Yargle. Hey, they're tapping out. Dub. Flying First Strike, so that's nasty. If I block it with both, I don't kill it. So I'm just going to take a hit for 5 here. Pick up a land. Yargle can trade with the Feral Witch Abomination, which I'm fine with, and we've got Blink of an Eye. 1, 2, 3. We've got Blink of an Eye and can play Valduke. So Yargle's definitely trading here, I feel. We can attack with the Cloud Reader Sphinx. No point attacking with the Chronicler. We've got Blink up in case anything goes wrong, and we can play a Valduke second main, because I don't think we need the draw from the Blink would be nice, but we don't need to save it. Sure. Because I want to save the Blink to deal with the Aven Sentry. Maybe I don't play the Keeper and I just blink for value. They are getting pretty low though. Yeah, I think we've got enough value at this stage that I'm going to play Valduke. Because we've also got a Keldon Overseer we can play in next turn, so the more 3-powered attackers we've got, the better. Attack with the Sentry. We cast Blink on the Sentry. So if we pick up a Mountain next turn, we can kill an Overseer. Or cast a Kicked Academy Drake. If we pick up a Mountain, we'll probably just Overseer, take their 3-2 and bash with the team. We didn't pick up a Mountain, but we can cast a Kicked Academy Drake second main. So if we attack with the Valduke and the Sphinx, that's not quite lethal, so they don't have to block with. If we attack with all of them, they can chump the Chronicler. But then, so they can chump the Valduke, and then hit us back for 4. But I've also got an Academy Drake, so they'd have to somehow steal that. So how am I at? 5, 6, 7. I do have 7 mana. 3, 4, 5. Yeah, alright. So I think we do want to attack with all creatures here. They might put 2 in front of the Cloud Reader Sphinx. Oh, we had a haste. Oh, that would have just forced them to block. Alright, never mind. It's like, did we just punt? I don't think there's a card that just wins them the game. It'd have to be a combination of 2 cards, which is kind of unlikely at this stage, so I feel like you should play to win. opponent is definitely playing to win. Academy Drake, so they'd need like removal spell plus charge, which I guess is possible. Maybe there was no point attacking with the Chronicler. So we're obviously just going to block their biggest thing here. Settle the Record isn't in this format, is it? Okay, we saw a dub, which is annoying, but so we really want to save the bounce spell for the dub. Aside from that, I just don't think we've really got many good things to sideboard into. We could play a Bloodstone Goblin if we want to block 2/2s a bit more effectively, but their 2/2s have first strike, so I feel like we're better off just either removing them or playing, you know, slightly bigger cards. We don't have any 2/3s to bring in. We haven't seen many Imbolus's Clutches, and we've only cast Khan's Temporal Sundering once. So we've definitely got some powerful plays in the deck that the opponent hasn't seen. And yeah, we'll just hope it's a sweet game. Been fun so far. Oh, last minute change. I just remembered that Fiery Intervention can destroy artifacts. So I took out the Killed Overseer for it. Maybe I should take out something else. Arcane Flight. They do have a lot of flyers. 5 drops. Now I don't have many creatures, but the Killed Overseer was never a great creature anyway. This is a good late game play, so I could take out the Arcane Flight for it. No, I think that's fine, because this can destroy that Forebear's Blade that that wrecked us before, and it can also just act as a kill spell. I don't think the Killed Overseer is going to be that good. They've got first strikes, and you know, we turn their stuff into 0/4s, so it can get blocked pretty easily. Alright, I'm up for this hand. It's got a 2-drop to stop the early bleeding, it's got a Keldon Raider to rummage into something good. Arcane Flight, whatever. You can put it on the Keldon Raider. You keep it as a blocker. Let's see what happens. Oh, Chronicler's another nice little speed bump if we need, although... Come on, let's get this Khan's Temporal Sundering G2 Chronicler combo off ones. No White Knights, that's good. Drawing lands isn't the worst, since we can always rummage them away with the Keldon Raider. Cast the Relic Runner down, since it is better to kick the G2 Chronicler if we can. Maybe we can even deal some damage with this Raider. Pegasus Courser. Well, that is annoying. I think it is annoying enough that I'm going to Arcane Flight the Relic Runner this turn, because next turn I'm casting Keldon Raider and I don't have mana. This turn I can give the Relic Runner flying and attack in, and then I can also keep it back to block the Pegasus if it starts attacking and giving some of its buddies flying. Not an amazing play, but it's just more efficient use of mana. And it does put the beats on too. A 3/2 flyer, yeah, no laughing matter. Of course, every time. Alright. Attack with the Relic Runner again. This could hit by a Gideon's Reproach, but it might not. Sure. So let's play a Raider. Let's get rid of a Mountain. Guess that was a Deep Freeze, which we might use on this Pegasus Courser if they play something else scary. The Pegasus Courser is a really strong card. It's surprisingly good. It's like, you don't want to use removal spells on it, but if you just keep removing their other creatures, then they just give their next creature flying. So, we are at least giving them a bit of a beating here, since we've got much more power on the board. There's a Sentry. So, do we want to deep freeze the Pegasus Courser or the Sentry? They might trade with the Keldon Raider and the Sentry, but I've also got no way to deal with if they play the 5/5 next turn and just give it flying. So I think I'm happy to trade if they want. So now I can either cast the Deep Freeze, or I think I'm just going to play Valduke and keep the pressure on. Because if they play a big thing next turn, then I'm like, well, I can Deep Freeze either that or the Pegasus. And I'm winning this damage race. It would be nice to draw some in Bolus's Clutches, or Khan's Temple Sundering is the perfect draw right now. Please, just one time, Khan's Temple Sundering. We take an extra turn. We get to Chronicler it back. Ah. Please, Magic Online. For the sake of science, let me draw Khan's Temple Sundering. Okay, the opponent has decided that we're winning this damage race. Moral Genius, not the worst, not the worst. No mana from the opponent here. So this is an interesting point about whether or not we want to use this Deep Freeze, use our removal spell on the Aven Sentry. We wouldn't be able to then attack with Valduke, so I don't think we do. Instead we just want to attack. If we draw Khan's Temple Sundering after this, but they're probably trading with the Keldon Raider anyway. They might have another Gideon's Approach. But we'd kind of find a trade with either of these creatures with the Aven Sentry. And they're probably going to choose the Keldon, since it's bigger. Sure. They have a combat trick to keep it alive. So they must be considering whether or not to use some kind of trick here to keep their Aven Sentry on the board. Gideon's Reproach. Oh, okay, alright. So they do have another approach. So we're gonna... all of our creatures are down. And they do have an Adamantine Will. Wow, alright. So that went pretty well for them. So here... I think I'm going to have to Deep Freeze this Aven Sentry and hope that they don't have a big creature. Alright, now drawing Khan's Temple Sundering is a real bummer. Hopefully that doesn't happen. No, not the 5/5. No! Oh, Yargle. Oh, God. Right, we're probably just going to lose this game now to Yargle. Alright, we've got a Deep Freeze. So we're going to take 10. And go to 6. Which is not the worst. We had a big life total buffer here. So maybe we can stabilize out of this game. It's going to be pretty damn close. Do need the opponent not really to have any follow-up here. No. Okay. Yeah, it's going to be tough to come back from this. They did mill their 2 Feral Abominations. We're on a super tight clock, though. We definitely need to draw a really high impact spell next turn. We need to draw Bolus's Clutches, really. Which, you know, there's a fairly high chance of us doing that, but our deck hasn't been kind to us with these draw steps so far. There's no point playing out the Gitu Chronicler as it is. I guess we could also draw a flying card. We really need the opponent to be out of gas. But definitely in dire straits for us here. Currently taking 5. If they have the pump spell here, then we're just dead. If we draw Embolus's Clutches now, we're still dead. I actually don't think there's a draw we can do to get us out of this now, which is unfortunate. This has been, we really haven't got to show off the power of these Embolus's Clutches. We've had a few of them, but we haven't really, done the full all 3 in the same game. Oh man. One turn too late. Is there any way I can survive? We needed that last turn. Or for them not to play this demonic figure. Everything just worked out perfectly in their favor, I think. They also, by the way, they also get to make Memorial to Unity, so game was over. Game was over. We had that chance to draw Khan's Temporal Sundering, and we didn't draw it. We didn't draw it. Well, it sucks to lose in the finals like that, but the deck was very sweet. Very cool deck to play, and I hope you had a lot of fun watching. You learned a little bit about Dominaria draft, and I'll see you around for the next one. Let me know what you think about the draft, the way I played, the build, and yeah, you can leave all your comments here or on YouTube, and thanks again for watching this Arcane Cards video. Have fun in Dominaria. I'm just going to see what our next draw would have been. Sure. And yeah, I'll see you all later.